Hello guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing another Block Wars episode. This is going to be a super fun episode, so please make sure to like the video and subscribe. So I did a little bit of off-camera edits to the map, like for instance, blocking off this area, fortifying it, putting a couple more houses in the Netherrack's land, and also getting this much closer to connection. Also, I built a large lake and a mountain or hill mountain thing, and yeah. So the lapis will start off by connecting this. Which really scares the bedrock. And so the Lapis are taking territory and growing their empire. But this isn't their main project. So their main project is really uh build up their army for the war. So this is just a side project. And different nations look like they're going to do different stuff. So the Lapis seem like they're just trying to grow their territory. And the Bedrock gain a small amount of territory in different regions. Over here, they actually gain quite a bit of territory, but they're gaining a very small portion of land. So the Lapis are not at all scared of them. And they start a building project for barracks. So just checking settings. So they build more barracks and are definitely prepared for a massive, massive war. They gather countless soldiers to put on the front lines of the battlefield. And meanwhile, the Obsidian prepare a couple more soldiers. Not near as many as the Lapis, though. And the raw gold seem to be preparing something, but the Lapis are stopping this as they have put their own soldiers out to defend the sponge. And secretly they station soldiers to prepare an assault. And Lapis have actually done something shocking. They have put their soldiers all the way forward to build a type of like blockade to stop any soldiers from moving between these two regions for the Obsidian. And this is infuriating the Obsidian. So for the Obsidian, they kind of have the raw gold who seem to be their ally and seem to kind of want to help them. And they also have the Bedrock, who are just chilling out and are also scared of the Lapis encirclement. And then the Lapis have the Moss, who are clearly a very strong nation. And they also have the Sponge, though they're more of a puppet than anything. And of course, the nations to the far east, behind the great hill and mountain zone, are not a part of this war, though they are a part of their own war. And the Prismarine are also not part of this war, as nobody knows they exist. This nation, the Netherrack, the Holy Netherrack, are kind of in the Obsidian's favor, as they border the Lapis and are more of friends to the Obsidian. But anyways, the war starts, and the Lapis are the first to make a move. Their troops start rushing forward. And they are charging on most of their fronts. And this is really scaring the Obsidian. As this force clearly outnumbers them, and it is a massive, massive blob of soldiers, and it's kind of hard to tell what is going on, because you have this ginormous army just charging forward. So you have the middle general, the southern general, the Northern General, and then the Far North General. You also have the Super Far North General, who is with the Sponge. And the Far North General and the Super Far North Generals have not yet launched their offensives, but the Middle General and the North General and the Southern General have launched most of their offensives. The Obsidian are very worried as this assault is massive, but their forces are defending very well, and most of the offensive is somewhat halted, or at least damaged. But the Obsidian defenders are also wounded and lose some of their forces. But this secretly serves a purpose, as now, while sure the Obsidian have lost a lot of soldiers, they then launch a major counteroffensive and attack the Lapis forces that have launched themselves forward in between the Obsidian lines. So the Lapis forces are crushed here and lose countless soldiers, and they have to retreat quite a bit from this area. And this relieves a lot of the Obsidian population. Now, the Obsidian also lost some soldiers while they launched such a great offensive, or counteroffensive, but that does not matter to them, as now they have gained territory and also inflicted heavy casualties upon the Lapis. Meanwhile, the Lapis forces have kind of adjusted to launch attacks upon the Obsidian. the forces that do make their way through are achieving massive victories, and they even manage to take some fronts. Now, sadly for the Obsidian, this victory doesn't mean a whole lot, as they have still not near enough ground taken as they would have liked, and have lost a lot of soldiers. But meanwhile, in the very far north, or I meant the Lapis, are making massive gains while they have lost some soldiers, but they're making massive gains. And the raw gold civilization suffers heavy casualties against the Lapis and is forced to retreat. And the Sponge are quickly rebuilding as they want justice for their nation. And they are very, very happy with the results so far of this conflict. Now, the Obsidian General here decides to start moving in his forces, or his two soldiers. They're not really forces, but his two soldiers closer to the field of combat. And all of the raw gold soldiers are now moving in to try and fight back. And now the Lapis launch their major invasion of the raw gold. Seizing certain key areas and also killing their leader. So now the raw gold are in shambles as their forces are being surrounded, even though they have a larger force. And the Obsidian are completely shocked and they decide to make a very, very, very dumb decision to abandon the raw gold, and they retreat back to their nation away from the raw gold and tell the raw gold that their nation is under attack. These two soldiers leave the area and come back to find their nation in complete ruins, with the entire army almost completely decimated. And the Sponge have won the battle, and so have the Lapis. And the terms for peace are terrible for the raw gold. As almost all of their nation is squeezed away from them. And is seized by the Sponge. The Lapis then order their forces that are here to prepare for a massive invasion of the Obsidian from the far north. The Sponge tell the Lapis that they are willing to help with the invasion, but the Lapis tell the Sponge that they do not need their help unless if they ask for it, which they will not want to ask for it. And so we come back to the fight. And it's mostly a stalemate currently. But in the Far East, a war breaks out between the Netherrack, or Netherite, not Netherrack, and the Emerald. So the Netherite quickly bring their forces down hard upon the Emerald. And their forces are also even better equipped. And the Emerald are wiped out. And this is kind of the second time that the Emerald have been wiped out, as a long time ago they were once in this region, and then they were all killed. Well, basically all killed. A couple settlers managed to reach here. But now they're officially gone forever, and all of this territory is just very, very desolate now. Most of the buildings have been destroyed, the barracks have been destroyed, but they don't really care about that, and so they decide to build houses all along the river. So the Netherite win a massive war So they are now the most powerful civilization. Well, to the Far East. Definitely not the most powerful civilization. I don't know why I was about to say that. But to the north, the Prismarine, or Dark Prismarine, should I say, are growing a little bit, getting some daily income, and they're doing alright. Definitely not the most powerful nation or best nation, but they're doing alright. And the world still doesn't really notice these civilizations, at least not yet. But the Netherites decide to send 3 soldiers onto the mountains, or 4 soldiers onto the mountains to kind of see the scenery. Meanwhile, far, far west, the Prismarine are growing only the slightest, but they are still growing. And that's about it for them. And now the war continues. So the Lapis are doing a massive push, and suddenly a new push is ordered, and the Far North General sends almost his entire force to deliver a catastrophic blow to the Obsidian. So this was mostly made to be a flanking assault, and at the start it kind of was, but now it's mostly just an assault. And it is slam packed with soldiers. And they are all attacking the obsidian. And even the obsidian general up in the far north is very, very worried, and so he's fighting on the front lines. And so they're doing everything they can to try and contain this assault. So the obsidian are actually doing pretty good. But the lapis are getting very, very tired of this conflict. So they decide that they are going to do a massive, massive attack through the center. So this assault is basically the final push through that the lapis are trying to launch and do. And you're probably thinking, shouldn't the middle general be doing this and not the southern general? Well, the southern general kind of realizes that, and so he goes to his kind of more southern position. And the middle general kind of extends his position to more of the middle kind of position where the southern general was, so that they can push through the center and break the obsidian lines and win the war. This is one of their two greatest gambles so far in this war. One was in the north, and then the other is in the south. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode or half episode, as there will be a part 2 coming out. And please make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and don't worry, this war is not over. It has only just begun. Bye.